Well, the rage is back. How many bodies are there? And what are we doing? Because yesterday a report came out saying that the Frozen Water folks took a blind refugee from Myanmar, released him from their custody into a blizzard 5 miles from his home, and told him to figure out how to make it there, despite the fact that he doesn't speak English, and so he had to walk home in the blizzard when he can't see and speak English, and he died. What on earth is that? This man's family was in contact with the Frozen Water folks. They had a lawyer. They could have just called his family to come and pick him up, and they didn't. They're sick. They're sadistic. They're disgusting. I can't. There are thousands of people that remain unaccounted for that have encountered this system. The families that can't afford representation, who don't have a big social media following. Those people are just in the wind, at best. A married Republican congressman had an affair with his married staffer, and after she had tried to cut it off and said that things had gone too far, she self-exited via way of ignition. Statistically speaking, women do not do that. Mothers particularly would never do that to their children. Just like Black people would never do that by way of trees. You really want us to believe that she struck a match and that's how she... No! Absolutely not. And reportedly, Congress has a taxpayer-funded slush fund that is intended solely to cover stuff like this up. I'm disgusted. The former Prime Minister of Norway attempted to self-exit this week following his connection with the Floridian billionaire files, and a countess from Ireland who married into the Guinness family also just so happened to miraculously pass away 4 days after this first release. People are all of a sudden talking about Katie Johnson again. Yeah, nobody knows where she is either. The lawyer was interviewed back in October, and his only wish was to hear from her because he doesn't know if she's alive. And that is to say nothing about the Riley interviews. How many? I was watching a clip from the interview with Tallarico and Boebert on Bill Maher, and Bill Maher goes, you know what, I have to admit, I owe those Q folks a big apology because it turns out that they were righter than I ever thought they could. And Boebert's like, yeah? He goes, you have to admit though, like, nobody's eating anybody. Like, just say it. Nobody is consuming any other person. And she's looking at him like, actually, there's a lot of evidence of that. I'm not saying that. The government's own documents are saying that. And he goes, oh, come on. I'm meeting you halfway here. Why can't you meet me halfway and just admit that that part's not true? And she's like, because... What? And I was sitting there like, what is happening? Why would she say that? Why would she meet you halfway when she's right? Like, that's exactly what it says. Why are you trying to pretend as if it isn't? Deniability among powerful people is no longer plausible. It is willful. Maybe you don't want to admit that the people that you break bread with are absolute monsters, but you better figure out how to admit it. Or maybe you're just afraid. Maybe you don't want to become just another fleeting headline, and I get it. I 100% get it. But do it with your full chest and stop gaslighting us. And certainly stop asking us for money. If we're fluffed, just say that. The rage got me today.